One of the biggest challenges that content creators face is having to film all by yourself. Rather than let that stop you, today I'm going to arm you with the tips and tricks to film cinematic videos completely solo. My name's Anthony from ContentCreator.com. Let's dive in. So how do we make filming solo easier? That's what our first tip is all about, and it comes down to having the right tools for the job. There are tons of different tools you could buy, but if I were trying to keep expenses low and get only what I need, without a doubt, at the top of my list, we would have none other than a smartphone gimbal. And right here, I have the brand new Insta360 Flow Pro. I'm always looking for individual pieces of gear that can check multiple boxes. Right here, we essentially have a mini tripod for quickly setting up and framing our shots, a lightweight selfie stick for added range, obviously a 3-axis gimbal that will help us capture smooth and professional movements, and then best of all for filming solo, an AI-powered smart tracker that can keep you in frame, essentially adding more movement to your videos that would otherwise have no movement whatsoever because, well, we don't have anyone else to actually work the camera and add that movement when we're filming solo. Now, there are two features in particular about the new Flow Pro that makes it one of the best smartphone gimbals for solo creators. The first is the fact that it is currently the only gimbal that integrates with Apple's new Dock Kit technology. What this means is, unlike typical gimbals that require you to use a special app or a detachable tracker to enable tracking, now this gimbal syncs directly with the camera API of the phone to enable tracking within literally any camera app. You simply tap the phone to the top of the handle, they'll pair up, and now immediately when you open up any camera app, it will track you the second you step in frame on both the selfie and the back cameras. To cancel tracking, you just hit the back trigger once. This is great for me because I love using the Blackmagic camera app to unlock all of my favorite pro settings. Normally, I wouldn't be able to track myself while filming solo using the Blackmagic camera app, but now with the Dock Kit integration, I can do all of it with my favorite apps. This tracking will even work on live streaming platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and Zoom. The second major new feature is the Infinite Track. Unlike most gimbals that can only rotate the pan axis a certain amount, the Flow Pro can go the full 360 degrees non-stop. When I was filming myself fishing, this was super helpful. I could literally just set the gimbal down and have full confidence it would track me no matter where I was on the boat due to this infinite tracking. Insta360 is actually sponsoring this video, and as a bonus, the first 30 people who click the link in the description and purchase a new gimbal, they're gonna get a free all-purpose tripod. All right, moving on, tip number 2 for solo filmmaking is all about the camera angles. The number one difference between amateur and professional solo creators is their use of multiple, unique, and creative camera angles that work together to tell a story. In the most basic sense, our goal is to create content that keeps people engaged. One of the easiest ways to guarantee you bore your audience is by filming each scene from one single camera angle. Imagine how boring it would be to watch me sit down at my desk and work from just one lame angle. Guaranteed, no one is watching for more than a few seconds. But let's imagine a wide tracking shot of me walking into the room, a medium shot from straight behind me, a tight detail shot on my glasses reflecting the screen turning on, a purposely out of focus shot highlighting some other aspect of the scene with me working in the background, and then finally a high angle shot as we end the session. I guess you don't really need to imagine it since I literally just showed it to you on screen, but isn't it so wildly clear how much more interesting our videos get when we simply shoot the same scene from multiple angles? Not to mention, editing becomes infinitely easier due to the sheer flexibility we have with all of the different shots to actually choose from. Now, of course, filming the scenes multiple times means a ton more effort being invested into each scene, but trust me, it is worth the effort. Go watch Casey Neistat. In my eyes, he's one of the most incredible solo creators of all time, and you will see how much effort he puts into filming every single thing he does from multiple angles. Even scenes in public places like airports, city streets, and more, he'll literally do the same action time after time after time, all in the pursuit of creating great content. Now, if all of this sounds a little overwhelming, I want to give you my creative cheat sheet when it comes to angles. Write this down in your notes app on your phone so you always have it with you while you're out filming. Wide establishing, tight detail ×2 because I try to always get at least 2 of these, creative focus, POV or point of view shot, high angle, and then low angle. Try to check at least 3 of these boxes minimum for every single scene you film, and you will easily 10x your videos. Now moving on, tip number 3 is actually an editing concept that will help you piece together your multiple creative camera angles in a way that feels natural and seamless. Cutting on action. The goal of editing is to tell a story to the viewer in a seamless fashion, where they almost don't realize that the video has been edited in the first place. By hiding cuts within moments of action, our videos appear much more seamless and easier to watch. Take this scene for example. In the first version, the car door opens, I get out of the car, and then we cut to the next angle. The cut is very jarring because it occurs at the point after the action had actually taken place. On the flip side, if we take the same exact footage and cut right at the peak of the action, the sequence becomes much easier to digest because of those seamless cuts. Now, like anything in this industry, there's no such thing as an unbreakable rule. In certain instances, you may not want to cut on action, but generally speaking, this is a good guide to live by, and if you start watching your favorite TV shows and your favorite movies, you're gonna notice Hollywood editors always cut on action. Tip number 4 is all about one of the biggest challenges solo creators face, which is how to monitor and frame up your shots when you can't actually get behind the camera while it's filming. Going back to the beginning of this video, one of the major benefits of having a gimbal like the Insta360 Flow Pro is that it can track you very well. It's really nice to just place the gimbal down, walk into frame, and relax knowing that the gimbal is going to do all of the work keeping you in frame. But let's say you still want to actually see what your camera is seeing. Normally on a talking head YouTube video like this, I've got a flip out screen on my camera or I've got an external monitor. But on a smartphone, filming solo, it's not usually that easy. Even if you had a big monitor attached to your iPhone pointing back at you, usually your camera is so far away it's going to be hard to see, or you're already acting in the scene as the subject, so you can't really just stare directly back at the camera to see how the framing is. The solution I typically use is my Apple Watch, which has a built-in app that lets you see exactly what your camera is seeing, along with the ability to start and stop recording. The start and stop is really useful, especially if you're filming in ProRes log on an iPhone 15. Those files are so freaking big, I always make sure that I hit stop recording as soon as I can from my watch so that the camera doesn't just record a ton of extra content of me walking back to actually cancel the recording. It's also nice paired with the Insta360 Flow Pro because I can now get tracking within the native camera app, allowing me to monitor everything from just my watch. With previous gimbals where you had to use specific apps that you actually couldn't view on your watch, it made doing it all at once much harder. You can get old refurbished watches for under $100, but let's say you don't want to get an Apple Watch. Here is the trick to ensure proper framing. Most of the time, at least. You compose and frame your scene without you in it. From there, you visually mark a point in the scene where you know you need to sit, stand, walk to, whatever it may be. Usually I'll just drop like a quarter or a little rock or whatever else to physically mark that spot, and then I can hit record knowing exactly where I need to end up during the shot. Like anything, there will always be those shots where it isn't quite perfect, and that's why I always review each shot after capturing it when filming solo. And if I need to, I'll make any minor adjustments and just refilm the shot again. That's the gift you just need to learn to appreciate and love about filming solo. It is definitely a time-consuming and inefficient process, but I also really love this, especially for beginners, because you're on nobody's clock but your own. It's okay to be slow, take your time, and make mistakes. That is how everyone learns. Moving on, tip number 5 is a crucial element for anyone looking to create cinematic content alone or with a team. You need a system for planning, and if you stick around, I'll actually give you my planning tool for free. Something that killed me as a beginner creator was going out to film without any semblance of a plan. I'd shoot a bunch of content, sit down to edit, and then I'd struggle to actually piece something watchable together. This all changed when I finally forced myself to focus on pre-production just as much as production, and what do you know, my videos started to get much better. This right here is my shot list and written storyboard planner. It's basically a Google Sheet, but it is a game changer. I'm able to plan out all of my different scenes with descriptions of the different angles I want to use. I can leave notes to myself so I don't forget while I'm actually out shooting. I can indicate what gear I might need so I don't forget anything while packing. I can outline the location for the particular shot to help plan my day worth of traveling. And I can filter things in the order in which I want to film each shot. And then finally, I can check that box to make sure I stay on top of what has and hasn't been filmed. For a video with talking portions like YouTube content or commercials, I also have boxes where I can indicate A-roll versus B-roll, and then include any relevant scripted portions options as well. If you want to copy this exact tool that I use, we've got a link in the description below. Hopefully you find it as valuable as I do, and if you do love free stuff like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button as it really helps our channel grow. Now, last but not least, let's talk about tip number 6, sound design. Personally, I think sound design has one of the biggest impacts on taking what could be a somewhat amateur looking video and seriously leveling it up. Even though audio is literally half of the viewing experience, so many people just slap a song onto their timeline and then they call it a day. I actually went super light on this edit, but here's a quick look at the sound design by itself. It probably took 15 minutes in total, but it had a massive impact on the final video. An easy trick for sound design is to watch your video back and mark down every movement, action, element, and environment that could produce a noise. By doing just that, you've got yourself a short list of sound effects to start looking for and adding to your timeline. Now, I will jump in here with a shameless plug. Finding sound effects online can be tough, time-consuming, and expensive, but we've actually got a ton of sound effects included in our online course for content creators, 14-Day Filmmaker. It's the world's largest and most successful online course for content creators that has over 130,000 students inside. You'll learn everything from the gear, the settings, the lighting, the movements, the storytelling, the editing, how to grow on YouTube, social media, how to create commercials that sell. There are hundreds of videos inside, but there are also bonuses like cheat sheets, sound effects like I already mentioned, downloadable editing templates, and I even personally host a weekly Q&A call where we can talk together and work through your specific questions. Students inside the course say it's like getting 18 months worth of YouTube University installed in your brain over the course of just 14 days, all for just $48. If you want to learn more, the link to join is in the description below. Other than that, those are 6 huge tips that will level up your solo content endeavors and make filming a more enjoyable experience. If you don't have a gimbal already, make sure you check out the brand new Insta360 Flow Pro. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.